this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. I want to thank the black men who positively engaged in the video that I just did. Kamala is coming for your vote. She's coming for your vote. And shout out to those who were not bullied by those who were coming on here telling you who black men are voting for, trying to tell you that if you don't vote for Donald Trump, you're not a black man. Shout out to the ones of you who stood up to that kind of bullying, because that's all it is. But today I want to talk about something that's very important, and that is how the Republicans are deceiving black people. And I'm talking about these black people who are so gung-ho on Donald Trump and the Republican Party. So many of these black Republicans are trying to fit in to white society. Many of them are married to white or non-black people. And they will have you thinking that every black person who doesn't think like them is stupid or a Democratic shield, that many of them don't even know how to spell. And that somehow they got the right idea and they're the ones who know the most. Well, let me tell you something. These people are playing in black people's faces. A lot of this stuff that they're doing is very deceitful. Just like that whole thing out there in Colorado, we were talking about migrants are taking over, and the migrants are taking over these apartment buildings, and they're charging the people rent in those apartment buildings. Now, according to those people in Aurora, Colorado, those buildings have been condemned by the city, and they're trying to get the people out. And you know how it is when buildings are condemned in cities. People who don't have any rent money will live in those buildings. There have been horrible tragedies with those buildings collapsing or catching fire with people in them, folks trying to live in those buildings when they are not up to safety codes, and the fire department has already said it's uninhabitable. But Colorado is interesting because Colorado used to be a Republican state, but now it has become a swing state, and Kamala may or may not be ahead in Colorado, but if she's not ahead, she's neck and neck with Donald Trump. There are a lot of Republicans in authority in Colorado. So this is just one of those big time propaganda things to make the country think, oh, the immigrants are taking over. The immigrants are taking over in a white state, in a predominantly white city. But black people are the ones scared. So Trump gonna come in and Trump gonna send them back. Instead of saying they better not come to my house, they better not come to my apartment, you're going to say, oh, Trump going to come in. Oh, Trump going to... No. So this could well be a game of propaganda that they know black people will fall for, because black people, many of us, are very easily frightened. And I'm not just saying that. Black people show more fear than anybody. I don't see white people being scared. I don't hear white people making videos about immigrants, because they know if an immigrant break up in their house or in their place of business, they know how it's going to go down. And I'm not trying to say that migration, and especially illegal migration, is not a problem in the United States. We all know that it is. This problem did not begin with Joe Biden. This problem began with Ronald Reagan. And people who just came to the political process 3 weeks ago want to argue about when it started, and they don't know what they're talking about. But there's a bigger issue here. There is a real effort to turn this country back to another place and time. Project 2025 is not a joke. It's not something to play with. They are downplaying Project 2025, trying to make you think, oh, it's just a joke. Oh, it's just a scare tactic. It's a scare tactic that all non-white people need to be concerned about, because they want to turn this country back where only white people have authority in this country. The Heritage Foundation works very closely with the Republican Party. All of these conservative ideas that they come up with, affirmative action, Roe v. Wade, and other laws that we thought were settled law that they come back and overturn, those things come from the Heritage Foundation and other conservative think tanks. They have conservative organizations whose sole purpose is to come up with proposals that will repeal laws that give freedoms to non-white people and women. The 15th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States was passed and ratified in 1870. That amendment gave black men the right to vote. They have been trying to take that right to vote from black men ever since. And black women gained the right to vote in 1920, but they began to set high stipulations on black people's right to vote. You got to be a landowner. You got to pay poll taxes. You got to pass a test they couldn't pass. But they put all of that on black people to keep them from voting. They've been trying to take the right to vote from black people ever since we got it. And if this was not the case, then we wouldn't have needed a Voting Rights Act in 1965 to ensure that we had the right to vote without going through all these hoops that they had set up. So trying to strip us of our rights even at this late date is real. So here is a college professor giving some information about the Republican Party.
Hey, good morning. Remember when I said this to you back in 22? In an attempt to weaken the power of the black vote, politicians in the state of Louisiana and Alabama are headed to the Supreme Court in order to redefine blackness and who can be black. That's right, in 2022, white men are going to the Supreme Court to decide on who can be black in this country. And then I said this. And if Brown is overturned and enslavement as punishment for crime is not written out of state laws, then all that takes us back to Scott v. Sanford, where the Supreme Court ruled that the Constitution does not apply to black people free or enslaved, and that the Negro has no rights that the white man is bound to respect. And remember, historically, Negro did not just simply mean black people. It also included indigenous people as well. Well, yesterday, August 25th, 2024, the Republican Party came out with this. Kamala Harris can't be president of the United States of America because black people aren't considered citizens under the Constitution. That's right. The National Federation of Republican Assemblies has cited the infamous 1857 Dred Scott Supreme Court decision, which stated enslaved black people weren't considered citizens. And they did this to prove that Kamala Harris can't be president of the United States. And this is the paperwork they filed to do it. They just didn't attack Kamala Harris. They also said the same thing about Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy. Cue the music. I never thought the leopards would eat my face. Oh, I never thought the leopards would eat my face. But they are! Every non-white person who supports the Republican Party supports a party who believes you shouldn't even be a citizen of this country. Black Republicans, especially you, and I see you all over the country, doctors, lawyers, nurses, friends, ex-cons. You're supporting a party who doesn't even think you should be a citizen of this country. How dare you? And you sit there proud chanting, "Make America great again," and let's take America back to when it was great. They're talking about taking America back to the 1850s. That's where you want to go? That's where you want to be. So remember what you're voting for this coming November. You're voting for or against the re-enslavement of non-white people. That's what's on the ballot in 2024.
And I would just point out that in 1857, black people were enslaved, and enslaved people were not citizens of this country. They did not become citizens until 1866 or 1867, whenever the 14th Amendment was passed. Now, if the Republicans are going to file something from 1857 during the slavery days to keep Kamala Harris from becoming president of the United States, what do you think they would do for me or you? they would do the same. It's about power. It's about trying to keep power into the hands of wealthy white men. That's what this is about. Power concedes nothing without a fight. These people have not changed, and you are silly to think that they have or that they would, because they have nothing to gain by changing. Okay, y'all, thank you for listening. Have a good evening, and don't forget to leave a comment.